Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Being the last to make the presentation, I know your attention span will be very short. I give you a good news that my presentation will not be more than 10 minutes and it will be only 8 slides, and I've decided to skip one or few because overlapping has already been done. I would just run through about 2 slides to set the context, which has already been done because most of it between China and India are similar because we are both are developing nations with great potentials. Well, we are 600 billion plus as a world population and still we are growing every minute. China got the gold medal in human production, followed by India where we got the silver and where we are looking at 2.4 billion, and it works out to something like 40% of the world population living in 2 great countries. What we thought as a liability suddenly changed into an asset because everything is produced for human consumption. Well, this slide is very important, even though many of the speakers earlier stressed it, but I would like to spend a few minutes on it because it relates to the literacy of a country. If you look at it in terms of literacy, America at 99%, followed by last you see at China at 90.9 and India at 61%. Our per capita paper consumption is 4.59 kilos and China is consuming at 44.66. Well, if you look at the GDP growth, both the giants are growing at 9.8 on one side and below you have 6.6. And the whole nation is moving at a progress. I mean, when we look at our corporates and when we talk to us, what is your growth rate? We say something like 20% or 10%. A whole country growing at 6.6% or 9.6% is a huge movement. Because when you visit India or China, you walk a road and thereafter 3 months later you walk the road, the same road, things are completely different. So the development is so fast. It's very challenging to stay in these economies, and I invite you to be there because why I have a formula, which is my second slide. I'm a part of the Indian Printing Machinery and Allied Manufacturers Association as Vice President. I'm here to invite you for building machines in India under joint collaboration and licensing. Why is it so? Because I'm one of the important beneficiaries of this formula. Because unless we build machines in developing countries, not representing you as a distributor works. We need to build machines because India has cheaper labor force. Where labor is added in India, you definitely have a benefit. The other advantages are abundant engineering skill and resources. Look at the number of engineering colleges. We have 3,573 engineering colleges and 3.5 million small-scale industries, followed by good communication skill. I say improving infrastructure. I wouldn't say it's a great infrastructure, but then I need to tell you, our governments are focused that they need improvement in infrastructure, and that's the word that's been used as improving infrastructure, and definitely trustworthy companies. Because we know we need to align with the developed economy. On our own, developing technology is very difficult, and we need to have somebody who has got great experience to align and move forward. What is the formula that I'm suggesting to you today? 1, export back to developed countries. For example, if we have aligned with one American company who has got a stall here, the Compaq LLC. We have aligned with them 3 years back. What we did was we built machines for them in India, exported back to developed country at 30% or even lesser price when built here. That's the formula number 1. Formula number 2, sell in India and pay back royalty. So what we do is we take the technology of a developed country into India, build machines in India, maybe defeature it because affordability becomes a problem in developing countries. We don't need, for example, in automobile sense, we don't need power windows now. We can always do it by hand. We don't need it. So we defeature for the developing countries and then build it in India and sell in India and pay you legally a royalty for the sweat that you have done for the last several years. Formula number 3, export to developing countries and pay royalty back to you. What we do is, from US, it's very difficult to market in Kenya. I'm not saying that you wouldn't do it, but you wouldn't do it in volumes, but we could do it volumes because we make the product affordable in a country where we are. So what we are saying is, I would have a conclusion. I don't want to conclude too early. Maybe I've got another 2 minutes or maybe 3 minutes. I would do it then. I'm part of IPAMA. We are an association of machinery manufacturers. We are a group of 400 people, and we have about 80% of the industry representation. We make the pivotal role in terms of policy making, and then we organize exhibitions as everybody does. And then finally, we extend support to foreign countries, to our companies to identify trustworthy companies in India. The final conclusion is 82% of the world lives in developing countries. 2, India and China holds the major share and huge business potential. 3, reaching and sustaining in these major markets will only be possible by joining hands with local manufacturers. So it's so essential. You now need to think, because I was thinking that this audience will be majority from NPES, and I wanted to address to the American audience very much that you need to be in India and China, build machines, and take it to 82% of the world. If you do not build machines in India or China, you don't make it affordable for the 82% of the world. The choice is in your hands, whether you want to be with 18% and then sell 1 or 2 through distributors and dealers, rarely once in a year, 1 or 2 machines or 3 machines, and be contented with it, or align with somebody in India and then look at markets of 82%. We in India, and particularly my company, is very much targeting at 82% of the world population. Finally, to close, one of the products built by us is now exhibited in the exhibition in one of the stalls, and where we have exported back at 30%, we have now about 85 installations in US. It's not that we only look at developing countries, we can also look at developed countries too. With this, gentlemen, I think my time is over, and thank you so much for your patient listening, and I need to thank NPES and its team for the excellent hospitality and a lovely opportunity to be in this great city, and thank you so much, and thanks you for patient hearing.